We're all well aware that at some point we're going to be done here. It's no secret. We knew what we were signing up for when we decided to participate in this once-in-a-lifetime adventure. We know it's temporary, and yet some of us are still reluctant to fully explore everything this incarnation has to offer. So the question is, what exactly are we afraid of? We worry about making the right decisions, and we fear taking the road less traveled. We do our best to play it safe, and then, before we know it, life is over before it even began. And we'll never know what could have been. Remember, we're not going to be here forever, and living in fear of the unknown will only prevent us from truly exploring what we're capable of. Eventually, we'll find ourselves suffering from analysis paralysis and end up doing nothing. And then we're done. It's over. As long as we're in human form, we're not given all the answers. It's an ongoing process of growth. We are, however, always receiving guidance from our higher self. But trying to identify our guidance is not always easy. It's not always obvious. And in my case, it seldom makes sense. As a result, we may mistakenly take our thoughts that come from our logical brain as guidance. But when it becomes clear that it's not, we need to have the courage to make a new choice and redirect our actions. Remember, we're not going to be here forever. Making mistakes is inevitable. It's part of our learning process. But when we strive for perfection, we end up living a very safe and mediocre existence. And then we're done. It's over. I believe the human journey involves learning how to manage our emotions, which is easier said than done. Dealing with criticism can be challenging. The opinion of others can be very hurtful sometimes. I'm sure you're familiar with the expression, opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one, and half the time they're full of crap. In other words, everyone has their own unique point of view. And that's to be expected. Because, much like a butthole, it would be dangerous if everyone had the same one. In other words, we all have our own unique perspective. Having said that, it's perfectly normal to be affected by criticism. As long as we're in human form, emotions are part of our experience. But negative emotions are only meant to teach us, not hold us back. Remember, we're not going to be here forever. And when we're always listening to the opinions of others, we rob ourselves of having the experiences we desire. And then we're done. It's over. In my opinion, life is about taking guided action. It's about being in alignment with our higher self, as this is where we will experience the most growth. So, how will we know if we're in alignment? We'll know we're in alignment when we continue to have the energy to keep going. When our actions are in alignment with our guidance, we will have the energy to persevere. In other words, our passion and drive will outweigh the long hours that are sometimes a necessary part of the process. The key is to keep paying attention to how our energy feels. In other words, it's up to us to decide if our energy supports our actions. We'll know we're in alignment when we feel overwhelming support by the spiritual realm. This will come in the form of signs and synchronicities. Being at the right place at the right time. Meeting the right people. This will come in the form of inner peace. We'll know we're in alignment by our karma. Karma is a universal tool that helps us to observe and analyze our results. It's our accountability partner. Having said that, results can be deceiving when our progress appears to be slow. Sometimes things may even get worse before they get better. It can be confusing. It's up to us to determine if our karma is showing slow progress or no progress. It's the difference between this and this. Let's face it, being human is not easy, and making difficult decisions is all part of the human experience. In other words, nothing has gone wrong. So, regardless if we decide to keep going down the same path or choose a new direction, the point of our existence, in my opinion, is to develop self-mastery. Now, self-mastery does not mean we're striving for perfection. There's no such thing. For me, self-mastery means mastering our energy, so we know how to work with it, not against it. Life, in my opinion, is an ongoing work in progress. For me, life is not about completion. It's about enjoying the process of developing our self-mastery through trial and error. So for me, it simply doesn't make sense to fear the unknown. It doesn't make sense to fear making mistakes. And we shouldn't get discouraged by the opinions of others. Remember, we're not going to be here forever. I have a quote I'd like to share with you. This quote is by Mandy Hale. Life isn't meant to be lived perfectly, but merely to be lived boldly, wildly, beautifully, uncertainly, imperfectly, magically lived. Well, this is all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have any questions or you'd simply like to connect, feel free to do so through my personal email. I've listed it in the description below. Until we meet again, be safe and make sure to keep paying attention to your karma. It's our greatest teacher.